All right, folks, this is a Oklahoma weather alert here just after 2 o'clock, right around 2:11 here on this Saturday afternoon. William Cole here live in the Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV Forecast Center. And folks, of course, we're still tracking really the fallout now from this ice storm that we saw across parts of central and west central Oklahoma. Again, we saw really a fairly decent accumulation of ice, especially on the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro. OG&E still reporting 70,000 plus still without power. And again, Phillip McGee, he's out there. He's basically going to give us a guided tour across parts of the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro. We kind of had part one a second ago. We took a quick break, and now we're back with him here. And so he's going to give us a guided tour again of the western sides of the metro. Again, basically showing us exactly what's going on. Again, a lot of people, of course, it's good. You're not getting out and about. So if you kind of want to see kind of the tour of, again, what's going on as far as like iced up trees, any kind of down power lines, any kind of damage, again, you're going to get it with Phillip McGee here over the next few minutes. We're going to get to him here in just a second, but first of all, I do want to go and take a look at live mesoscan radar. Again, with the live watch and warning map there, again, ice storm warnings basically now expiring for parts of the Oklahoma City metro, but the radar is what I actually want to go ahead and take a look at here. And as we take a look at this, again, the good news is that the overall intensity of the rain, it's actually coming down. It's actually becoming more scattered in nature now. And again, we're seeing the green. This is going to be all liquid type precipitation. So really from Miami up there in parts of northeastern Oklahoma, really all the way down I-44, right down into the Oklahoma City metro, all the way down towards the Lawton area. Liquid precipitation here. Still a little bit of freezing rain, though, right on the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro. And in fact, looking at the live temperatures off really the Oklahoma Mesonet, this freezing rain line comes just a little bit closer to the Oklahoma City metro, right there around really the Yukon area, El Reno area, even back up through the Piedmont area. Again, some freezing rain still likely across that part, again, of the metro. Let me go and switch the radar. Let me switch to a different radar just to show you exactly what I'm talking about here. And as we do that, as I go and get this pulled up here, again, let's just go and switch this around just real quick. And as I do that, again, basically what you're looking at now, this is live radar, but we've also put on live mesonet temperatures. So these aren't live temperatures that update once every hour. These temperatures truly update every 5 minutes. So these are real-time temperatures. But again, out here in the El Reno area, you can see mesonet still reporting 31 degrees. So again, this is going to be frozen precipitation out here in parts of Canadian County. Kingfisher's actually dipped down a degree now, down to 31. So again, frozen precipitation there across parts of northern Canadian County and also southeastern Kingfisher County there as well. The Oklahoma City metro is still holding on right now to 33. There's Phillip McGee's live GPS location. This updates every 10 seconds. We can actually see him as he moves. But as he goes up Northwest Highway into parts of Canadian County there, again, that's where he's starting to drive into some more of that frozen type precipitation. And then, of course, for Stillwater, for the Bedlam game tonight, Stillwater currently holding on to 34 degrees. We're going to take a look at your Bedlam forecast here in just a second. I just updated it. But for Stillwater, all liquid precipitation, no frozen precipitation at all for the game. Of course, it starts tonight at 7 p.m. OU versus OSU. Game's called Bedlam for those of you not from Oklahoma. But for that game, again, all liquid precipitation, but it's going to be extremely cold. We're talking about temperatures anywhere from 35 to maybe 34 by the fourth quarter. So very cold and very close to that freezing mark as well. So let's go and get back to Phillip McGee. Let's go and keep our tour of northwestern Oklahoma City going, and again with his live stream. And Phillip, I'm going to go and toss it back to you. Kind of tell us where you are now, and again, kind of tell us what you're seeing out there.
Okay, William, I am at the 7900 block of Curtis Terrace and Kim Marie Lane. I'm shooting back to the northwest, and there's a vehicle back behind me. I'm going to have to move forward just a little bit. But as you can tell, this neighborhood has really suffered heavy damage as far as trees and everything else. Now, one thing that I will say, back behind these houses, there's high-tension power lines that probably stand, I would say, probably close to 150 feet high, and those lines are ice packed. And what I've noticed here within just the past couple of minutes, that this rain and everything else is really kind of starting to come to an end. Melting process is starting to take over on these power lines, and so these things are dropping large javelin-styled pieces of ice from that 150-foot height. So if you're driving down that road and the wind catches that a little bit, you're going to have some serious damage to your car, whether it's the windshield, whether it's the hood, the roof, or anything. So we're going to make our way around, but I just wanted to kind of give you a good idea of some of the residential areas that have really suffered hard and heavy with this tree damage from the weight of the ice. So I'm going to try and make my way back to the north now on Curtis Terrace. And as you can tell, I mean, as the stream goes on, the damage only gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, that's the way it looks, Phillip. Basically, really the further west that you get, and that's basically been the trend. That's pretty much what we knew, is that really the eastern sides of the Oklahoma City metro, there was some freezing rain. It wasn't as bad there. But again, the further west you get, again, we're going to start seeing more of these limbs down, potentially power lines down. And again, even still this afternoon, as you get a little bit further to the west, temperatures are still sub-freezing. So I know where you are right now. Again, those power lines are starting to melt. But again, in some of these other locations, the power lines are still going to be dipping down with some of that heavy ice still accumulating on them. So, but again, so we can actually take a look at your live GPS location here in a second. I'll let you kind of keep going there with your narration as you're driving down the street. We see more limbs down, but again, we'll take a look at your live GPS location here in just a second as well.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I'm continuing north on Curtis Terrace. This road actually curves back to the right up here. It's the Northwest 85th place. I didn't get a chance to catch what neighborhood this was in, but I know that it's, and on the left-hand side, there's a pretty good idea of some of the damage that's going on with these trees. Just a tremendous amount of weight, from the, probably, I would say, pretty close to an inch in diameter ice that's hanging off of the branches, most of the trees around here. So, with that being said, and we've talked about the power lines and everything else. Fortunately enough, we have not seen anything down yet, but with 70,000 people out, we just haven't hit that sweet spot, and found out where they're at. So I would caution people, if they're in that area, to avoid those power lines. Let the crews take care of that business and get that power restored to those areas, just as quickly as possible.
Absolutely, Phillip. What I'm going to do, let me just switch from your stream here just real quick, just to kind of show people where you are, just to kind of orient everybody. So this is Oklahoma County right here as a whole. This is Northwest Highway or Northwest Expressway right here going out of Oklahoma City. So there's Phillip's live GPS location. He's really just on the northern sides of Bethany, and the very latest information we're getting from OG&E, Bethany has been one of the hardest hit cities that we've seen. Really, Bethany to the west, out near the El Reno area, also including a lot of the Oklahoma City metro right in through here as well. But again, this was some of the hardest hit areas, or at least people right now reporting the most power outages in the state. So again, really the western sides of the metro, Bethany, again, all the way out near the El Reno area. So Phillip McGee is basically right there, just on the northern sides. But again, that's his live GPS. And again, that updates every 10 seconds, just to kind of put in perspective, again, exactly where he is as you're watching his live streaming coverage. So Phillip, we're going to go and toss it back to you. I'll switch back over to your stream there. We'll also have a live radar update here in just a second, and we'll also take a look at that Bedlam forecast again coming up here in just a second as well. But Phillip, right now, back to you.
Okay, William. Yeah, absolutely. We're kind of seeing a lot of the same old stuff, and I know for a lot of the viewers, this is all important. One thing that I was also going to bring up was the fact that some of these houses, we're in a really nice neighborhood over here, and I wouldn't be surprised the least bit if there's not a lot of roof damage with some of these homes where the tree branches and limbs have actually landed on top. It's kind of a bad deal. We want to get this information out to people for sure, but we also don't want to invade their privacy, as they're out there trying to get the trees off of their house and everything else, and kind of get that damage assessed. So. But I'm going to hand it back to you. I'm going to make my way back out of this neighborhood, and then I'm going to go back up to the north a little bit around the Rockwell and Council roads and see what kind of damage that we have up there.
All right, Phillip McGee doing a great job there. Again, basically giving us a guided tour around the Oklahoma City metro as we're basically just kind of looking at damage and basically the aftermath of really the ice storm that we had really over the last 24 hours here across parts of central and across parts of western Oklahoma as well. So we're going to break from Phillip's stream here for literally just about a minute. As he gets turned around, while he's doing that, we'll go ahead and give you a live radar update here as well. So obviously, if you're not in the Oklahoma City metro area, you're probably still wondering what's going on in your location. And as we take a look at live mesoscan radar here up across parts of northeastern Oklahoma, still scattered showers ongoing. Now, the one radar trend that we've really noticed here over the last couple hours, a lot of this precipitation is starting to become a little more light, and it's also becoming a little more scattered in nature. So again, scattered showers with some rain embedded still across parts of northeastern Oklahoma, and then across parts of southwestern Oklahoma. More rain showers still really kind of training up across parts of southwestern Oklahoma. All this activity is still going to be training up towards the Oklahoma City metro. The western sides of the metro around the El Reno area still currently only 31 degrees, so some freezing rain still in progress there across parts of the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro, with the very cold rain right here in the Oklahoma City metro proper. Now let me do this. Let me go and switch radars here real quick. And as I do that, I want to go ahead and show the radar with live temperatures. Now, this is important anytime you're actually looking at frozen type precipitation. I'm going to zoom this out. I zoomed it in just to kind of show Phillip McGee's location. So we're going to look at Oklahoma City. We're also going to look at Stillwater. I know there's a lot of people that are interested in that big Bedlam game, and we'll take a closer look at that here in just a second as well. Let me just get this radar zoomed out here. And as we do that, let me go ahead and pull this out just a little bit more here. And again, with the live temperatures we're seeing here, again, for the Oklahoma City metro, again, currently 33 degrees. So we know this is going to be liquid precipitation right in here, right? So 33 degrees. As you get on the northern sides of the metro, Guthrie currently 32. So they're basically at the transition zone, going from some really liquid precipitation with the potential at least for some frozen precipitation mixed in there. Across parts of Canadian County, again, you can see with more moderate rain moving in right now, this is still freezing rain. And keep in mind, El Reno, you guys have been some of the hardest hit locations that we've seen. So again, more moderate freezing rain there moving in parts of Canadian County. And then as we look up to the north, up around the Stillwater area, Stillwater still currently 34 degrees. So again, for that big Bedlam game tonight, again, that's good news. So again, still all liquid precipitation, and it looks like that's the way it's going to remain really as we go through the Bedlam game. There's going to be some scattered showers. There's going to be some drizzle primarily as we get closer to the fourth quarter. Rain showers transitioning to drizzle by the fourth quarter. But again, it's going to be cold, but it's still going to be just above freezing up there in Stillwater. So again, that's really good news for the Bedlam game. And of course, we're tracking that very closely for you there as well. So let's go back to Phillip's stream. And I think he kind of got repositioned there. He basically was getting out of that neighborhood. Again, Phillip McGee, our lead storm tracker, he's basically giving us a guided tour today, parts of northwestern Oklahoma City, basically looking at the aftermath of basically the ice storm that we've had here across parts of western into central Oklahoma, really over the last 24 hours or so. Here in Oklahoma, OG&E is still reporting at least 70,000 people without power. And again, we have seen, at least from your tweets, the pictures you've sent me, again, multiple power lines that have been down, and again, some fairly significant tree damage, primarily on the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro, again, even heading out towards the El Reno area specifically. So, Phillip, let me go and hand it back over to you. Go ahead and keep our guided tour here of the metro going. Kind of tell us where you are, and again, basically kind of what you're seeing, again, as you're driving through the metro.
Okay, William, yeah, I am at Northwest Expressway in Council right now. I'm facing due north. We're going to try and make our way up. There's a couple of different neighborhoods that we're going to go up and look at on the northwest part of town and see what the damage is up in that area. As right now, I'm continuing to see just a lot of damage, to trees, some structures as far as outbuildings and stuff like that, where there are large tree branches laying across the top of those. Some of them with the roofs caved in. Other than that, again, like I said just a second ago, before we switched back to the radar there, one house that I seen just a minute ago had a huge tree branch laying on top of it, probably 8 to 10 inches in diameter. So, I didn't want to invade their space because they're out there trying to assess the damage, but looked like that, they had some pretty major roof damage to their house. So, that being said, now I am traveling north on County Line. You can see my stream right now. A lot of low-hanging trees over in the right-hand lane. The left lane closest to the center is still open and passable, but as far as these trees that are laying out in the roads, a lot of heavy ice on these things. People not paying attention can run their cars into that stuff and potentially damage them also. So, that being said, I think we're kind of getting a good idea that this neighborhood, I'm just passing past one of them that's called North Haven. My actual position is at Northwest 104th and Council Road. But I think we can kind of see from the stream that the damage is going to be about the same in this area, if maybe not even just a little bit worse.
Yeah, Philip, I would definitely agree with that for sure. Again, we saw those trees that were basically bent over there in the roadways, and of course that ice, it's just heavy, and it just basically bends those trees over. And of course, we've also seen some trees. Of course, you had one earlier there on Northwest Expressway that basically the tree basically just collapsed. And of course, when that ice starts to add up, that's what happens. It basically just weighs down those limbs, it weighs down those trees, and again, sometimes you'll see the trees actually split in two, is what we saw earlier. And then of course, some of those limbs, of course, there's also hanging over again just because of the weight of the ice. That's the same thing that applies to those electrical lines as well. As the ice builds up along them, they start to stress, they start to sag. And again, normally with a little bit of a wind combination, that's normally kind of a double punch of ice and wind, that's normally when we start to see power outages. We didn't have a lot of really extreme wind with this. We just had a lot of really ice that build up on those power lines and really snapped them. And again, that's why we're seeing really the excessive power outages, especially there on the western sides of the Oklahoma City Metro, Philip.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it was over on 63rd, if my memory serves me correct, but we did that update there just a little bit ago where the trees were actually laying on the lower part of the telephone lines that were, the aerial lines that are suspended. And, the important thing about that is, it didn't take much of that weight to either snap those poles. Like you said, fortunately, we didn't suffer that high wind to go along with this, so that might have been a little bit of saving grace for a lot of the folks here in Oklahoma City.
So Philip, tell us where you are right now. So obviously we're still seeing your stream, you're still driving. For the most part, we're still seeing, a glaze of ice on the trees. We've seen a few trees bent over. Again, earlier, about an hour ago, again, we saw the tree snapped. The good news is, really where you are right now, we have not seen any power pole actual issues. We've seen some of the lines stressed with ice around them, heavy ice around the lines, but we haven't seen any down power lines. We haven't seen any power poles that actually have issues. So that's good. I know you're just on the northern sides of Bethany, and of course Bethany is one of the locations with some of the highest power outages right now. But again, what you're seeing there on the northern sides of Bethany is, again, really just a lot of glaze on the trees. Is that, correct? In what I'm seeing here?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. There is, just a ton of ice on the trees. North side of all of the telephone poles are completely coated with ice. The lines themselves, power lines, telephone lines, cable TV, are all coated with probably close to an inch of ice. I am on Hefner Road and Rockwell right now. I'm at the intersection. I'm actually going to turn south and go back across Northwest Expressway, go down toward Wiley Post Airport, which is more in the Bethany metro area, and see what we can see down there as far as any kind of damage. But you're absolutely correct. Fortunately enough, no down power lines that we've seen so far. Again, I'm going to kind of reiterate this fact. If you look to the right on my stream right now, you see these high-tension poles that are probably upwards of 100 feet tall, and there's a lot of ice built up on those. And like I said, these sharp dagger pieces of ice are starting to come off of this, and, the road's running right next to it. And not only that, but people are kind of trying to get out and assess the damage that's done to their yards, to their fences, to their homes and everything else, and really kind of putting themselves in danger, in order to do that. It might be a good idea to kind of let that stuff fall off of those lines first before they head out to assess anything.
Hey, Philip, let me ask you something real quick. As you're driving around there, and obviously we're watching traffic as you're driving around too, what's really two questions as far as the traffic goes? And this is a semi-traveled road that you're on. Obviously, it's not really a back road or anything, but how are the roads? As you've kind of driven around the Oklahoma City Metro now, really this afternoon, even down I-44 earlier, how are the road conditions out there? Of course, that's question number one. Then also the volume of traffic. Obviously, it's a Saturday afternoon, weekend, a lot of people off. Are the traffic volumes fairly low? In other words, are a lot of people actually staying home and off of the streets, which would be a good thing? Or again, how are the traffic volumes? And also let us know how the road conditions are there as well.
Okay, road conditions are relatively good for considering what the state of Oklahoma had just gone through. That being said, they are still damp and wet. I've noticed that as I've taken off from the stoplights on a couple occasions, the tires will start to slip just a little bit before I get traction again. So just wet pavement as of right now. No ice conditions on the roads. In some areas, there'll be a little bit of water running across where this, it's just trying to make its way to the drainage ditches and the sewer systems, or the wastewater system, not the sewer system, but the wastewater systems, to drain off. But to answer the second part of the question, I would say that the traffic is probably low to maybe moderate. There's a lot of people probably still out trying to do some shopping and stuff like that for Christmas. And maybe even making some grocery runs with all of this stuff that's going on. So that being said, it's not really that bad. I'm glad to say that people are kind of taking it slow whenever they are moving out on the streets also. So they're being very cautious.
That's good. That's really good to hear right there. And again, you can see from the roads, for the most part, they look wet. Of course, if you do get out, that doesn't mean, take it lightly. Still exercise caution. You never know where there could be black ice. So we really want to underscore that. But again, for the most part, we're seeing traffic overall moving okay, at least this afternoon from where Phillip McGee has been there with his live stream again through the metro. So if you're just joining us here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, just a little after 2:30 here on this Saturday afternoon, and basically lead storm tracker Phillip McGee, he's basically just giving us a grand tour of the Oklahoma City metro. Again, if you're not able to get out today, which is good, maybe you're staying home, staying out of this cold, wet weather. Again, we're basically just giving you a tour around the city, showing you basically what's happened on the aftermath of the ice storm. We're taking a look for trees, frozen trees, any kind of tree damage, which we've seen. Also any kind of power line damage as well. Of course, here in Oklahoma, really all across Oklahoma, 70,000 people still without power. But again, a lot of people without power, even right here in the Oklahoma City metro, really close to half of that amount right here in the Oklahoma City metro. So again, Phillip basically just giving us a guided tour here of really northwestern Oklahoma City. That's where he is right now, and I'll let him actually talk about his location here in just a second. We're also going to take a live look at radar coming up here again here in just a second as well. Again, if you're in a different part of the state wondering what's going on in your location, a live radar update here in a second. We'll also take a look at your bedlam forecast here in just a minute as well. But right now, Phillip, go and tell us where you are.
I am on Rockwell and just passing through the intersection of West Wilshire Boulevard, running parallel with the runway here at Wiley Post. And so, he'd mentioned just a few minutes ago that Bethany was one of the larger affected areas in these power outages. So we're going to try and make our way down that way before we head back north up to the area where I live, around the Cashion area. When I left this morning in Cashion alone, there was a lot of damage with trees, a lot of fence damage and stuff like that. So I want people that are out in the rural communities to also feel like that we're covering the whole entire state, like our app does. And so with that being said, I'm going to hand it back to you, William.
Okay, Phillip McGee, really appreciate that right there. Let's do this. Let's go and take a quick radar update. Let's just go and bring everybody up to speed as far as what's going on with radar here across really Oklahoma. Let's go and take a look at that. We'll also take a look at live temperatures here in a second as well. And also we'll take a look at that bedlam forecast as well. So let's go and break. Let's give Phillip a quick little break there. He's really been going hardcore, so to speak, here over about the last hour and a half or 2 hours. Again, basically driving us around the Oklahoma City metro, starting in eastern sides of the Oklahoma City metro, again now up across parts of the northwestern parts of the Oklahoma City metro. So, all right, live mesoscan radar here first of all, and again, really what we're seeing is a decrease in overall coverage here of the precipitation across Oklahoma. Now really more in the way of scattered showers across a good portion of Oklahoma. Rain chances are still going to hang around. Rain chances aren't going away quite yet. In fact, rain chances are actually going to hang around through, it looks like, part of tomorrow as well. I'm actually updating the 10-day forecast, looking at the new model data right now.
Hey, William.
While Phillip McGee was on the live line. And yeah, Phillip, it sounds like you're trying to get my attention there. You're still live with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we found our first down power pole. We are at, let me get the good location, Northwest 63rd Street, right at the junction of Rockwell. And as you can tell, there's a wrecker actually here. I don't know why he was there, but you can see that there's, well, actually he's dragging and there's sparks happening right now. I want to try and get on this. But anyways, Oklahoma City Metro and everybody else the city of Bethany police is here, and this guy has got a hold of this pole. I think he may have tried to drive over it, and now I don't know if you can see it. He's got the cable connected up underneath his truck, and it's actually sparking on this speed limit sign that's directly in front of me. And so I don't know exactly how that was going to take place or whatever, but he has a hold of the power pole or something. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I know that the police have it all blocked off and everything. So
yeah, is he pulling a power pole out of there? I mean, so we see the power lines over here, so he's obviously pulling something out from over here. Is that what it is, or is it something else there, Phillip?
It is the power pole that was laying down on the ground, and I tell you what, it's kind of a dangerous situation because they were taken, and this pole is live. I mean, I really don't understand what the point was with them grabbing a hold of it, with not them having the power line actually, or the power shut off out in this area. So pretty kind of a dangerous situation that's going on right now. These guys are out. Of course, the police are here. They've got it all blocked off and everything.
And where's your location again, Phillip?
I will say this real fast. I'm going to have to get out of here because the police are kind of starting to want me to move out of the area. But that being said, if the folks are listening in this area right now, I would avoid this area until they get this problem taken care of for sure. It's going to be Northwest 63rd, where it tees right at Rockwell Avenue. So if you continue further west, it's going to take you right to the Wiley Post runway, which we all know that you can't get down that way. Other than that, it looks like they might be letting a little bit of traffic through right now. But that being said, I would still avoid the area until the power company could get out here, get this thing killed, and get everything taken care of like it needs to be. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it back to you. I'm going to go ahead and turn around and let these guys do their job.
All right, Phillip, really appreciate that there. Good job on that right there for sure. So let's go back to radar. So let's do a quick radar update here. We'll also take a look at that Bedlam forecast as well. And again, basically like I was saying, again, scattered showers ongoing. Rain chances, it looks like they will hang at least through parts of tomorrow as well. Again, more really in the form of scattered type activity. Of course, Bedlam, it's a big deal up in Stillwater this evening, the way it looks right now. Bedlam does look wet, so some light, scattered, cold rain showers, and that's for really kickoff. And then as we get into the fourth quarter, really a light, cold drizzle, but the way it looks right now, temperatures are going to stay above freezing for the Bedlam game. Now, they may be just above freezing, but they'll be above freezing, so all liquid precipitation for that Bedlam game. Here in central Oklahoma, again, scattered showers still ongoing, really all the way down into parts of southwestern Oklahoma, and in fact, the intensity is coming up just a little bit there and across parts of really Kiowa County. That's near the Hobart area. Again, we're starting to see a little bit of yellow there mixing in with the radar, and then some light scattered showers ongoing there across parts of eastern Oklahoma as well. So let's go and zoom in the radar. We're going to take kind of a closer look at some of this activity here real quick. And again, first of all, here in central Oklahoma, again, you can actually see that freezing line really mixing its way back in now across parts of northwestern Oklahoma City, even up towards the Edmond area. Again, we're seeing this purple right here. This is computer estimated changeover basically to really freezing rain. And that's what we're seeing as we compare this data with the live Mesonet numbers, which are updated every 5 minutes. The live air temperatures from the Oklahoma Mesonet. Again, they're basically telling us El Reno, the current temperature there is 31 degrees, so they are sub-freezing out there. So again, freezing rain still likely there across a good portion of Canadian County, and again, scattered showers really right here in central Oklahoma. So let's go and pull the radar a little bit further down to the southwest. And as we do that, again, you can see some, at times, moderate rain falling down across parts of Kiowa County, down there around the Hobart area. Again, all this activity, it's basically training or moving over the same location in general off to the northeast. So again, for the Oklahoma City metro, again, more waves of rain basically moving in. For Oklahoma City, we're going to be right on the cusp again of going below freezing, but the way it looks right now, we're probably going to be right around 33 degrees for most of the evening, maybe dipping back down to 32, so the opportunity at least for a little more freezing rain will be possible as we go through the late evening into the overnight period. But again, the rainfall activity at least picking up just a little bit there across parts of southwestern Oklahoma. So now let's go and take a look at eastern Oklahoma. Of course, we do cover the entire state, so we've kind of got to work the radar here. And even for our friends up there in northwestern Oklahoma, again, we're seeing more in the way of scattered activity, some of that patchy purple showing up there. Again, some patchy, light freezing rain, a little bit of drizzle ongoing there across parts of northwestern Oklahoma. And then as we zoom in here to parts of eastern Oklahoma, again, some scattered showers around the Tulsa metro, extending up 44 there, up near the Miami area, and then also south of that, near the Okmulgee, Muskogee area, right there along the I-44, right along the I-40 corridor rather, and then also down through the McAllister area, down through Atoka, and even Ardmore there, down I-35, also seeing some light scattered showers. But for eastern Oklahoma, again, rainfall activity quite a bit lighter than what they saw yesterday. In fact, yesterday, parts of eastern Oklahoma picking up anywhere from 5 to 6 to 7 inches of rain. In fact, Hugo down here in far southeastern Oklahoma, they picked up 9 inches of rain in about 28 hours, 9 inches of rain. So again, that's some pretty impressive rainfall amounts across that part of the state. We can actually take a look at some of those live numbers coming up here in just a few minutes. Let me go and pull up the Bedlam forecast real quick, then I want to get back to Phillip McGee. Of course, he's still giving us this guided tour across the Oklahoma City metro, basically showing us, again, the aftermath of the ice storm. But real quick, I know this is a big deal. Let's take a look at the Bedlam forecast. For kickoff, 35 degrees, cold rain likely. By the fourth quarter, down to 34 with some light drizzle likely at that point in time. Overall, it looks fairly wet and fairly cold for that game. So, Phillip, you're still on the live line with us. Go and tell us where you are now and kind of tell us what you're seeing as I switch back over to your stream.
Okay, I am at North Mueller, looks like about the 5600 block, and Northwest 55th. I'm looking due east. It's kind of hard to see. I'm going to have to back up just a little bit, but trees on the power lines here, and not only that, but just completely treacherous and hazardous to drive through some of these, streets that we're on, because the tree limbs and the branches are hanging down so low, and I don't know if you can see the stream. It looks like maybe some mid-spans that are running across to provide cable TV and stuff like that, but they're hanging low, and just the tree branches themselves almost making these roads, these side streets, completely impassable. I mean, it is just unbelievable the amount of damage that is going on down here. So it really correlates and goes hand in hand with why Bethany is suffering so bad with the power outages that they are, because now that we're down here in the midst of things, we're really getting a good chance to see what is going on and why all those power outages.
Absolutely, Phillip. And again, we've said it now, I know a couple times, but the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro for sure definitely got hit harder than the eastern sides. There was freezing rain in the eastern sides of the Oklahoma City metro, as we went through the evening yesterday through the overnight period. But again, by far, the western sides of the metro, the temperature just got a little bit colder on the western sides of the metro, and it allowed that rain to stick to some of those surfaces we're talking about, really trees and power lines, just a little bit better than it did on the eastern sides of the metro. So again, no doubt about it, the western sides of the metro definitely hit harder, and again, that's where primarily the majority of the power outages are as well. Again, they're across parts of the western sides of the metro. Again, Bethany being extremely hard hit, also the El Reno area as well. But again, all across Oklahoma, the latest tally, at least from OG&E, 70,000 people still without power. Phillip, back to you.
Yeah, absolutely, William. I'm making my way back. I'm actually on Northwest 50th in Rockwell right now. I'm going to turn and go south just a little ways, and then see what else we can see. But I'm pretty sure that it's going to be basically the same thing. The damage down here is pretty extensive with all of the down tree limbs, and we've just seen that live just a second ago. That live power line. Where they were trying to get it moved over, and it actually hooked onto the street speed limit sign and started arcing there, and basically burned its way through the street sign about halfway before they could get that pole pulled over to the side. And then I would be almost 100% sure to say that the power company is going to have to come out and actually kill that line in order to reset that pole, and then of course reroute that wire. So.
Yeah, absolutely, Philip. No doubt about that there either. Let's do this real quick here. Let me switch over the radar source here real quick as you're still driving. And what I want to do, I want to actually pull up your live GPS location just to kind of give people an idea of where you are. I know sometimes people aren't really that familiar with the Oklahoma City Metro. Of course, those of you watching from around really the rest of the state, or even those of you watching from outside of Oklahoma. So just to kind of put it into perspective of exactly where Phillip McGee is, let me go and switch over to his GPS location here real quick. And so here's the Oklahoma City Metro right here. Here's Oklahoma City, here's Edmond. And this is his live GPS, right? So this updates like every 10 seconds as he's driving around in real time. We can see exactly where he is. But he's just on the northern sides of I-40 right there in far western Oklahoma County. He's basically right in the mix. This is the hardest hit zone with this ice storm, really from Bethany straight out west out to El Reno. So Phillip McGee is basically now right in the zone of where we really saw the more significant icing, and again also the power outages as well. But again, that's where he is, again, just to kind of put that in perspective for everybody. So let's go back to his stream, and Phillip, you're still there on the live line with us. Go ahead and bring us back up to date.
Yeah,
Tell us again where you are.
Yeah, William, I'm on northwest 39th, headed westbound, out towards Lake Overholser to see what kind of damage is going on out there. And then, like I said earlier, I'm going to make my way back north up around the Cashin and Crescent area. So right now, northwest 39th looks pretty decent. I'm not seeing any businesses that I can tell. Most of them are going to be shut down anyways because it's a Saturday, but from what I'm looking at right now, not seeing a lot of power outages over in this side of the town. So I'm going to say that it's probably further back east, with the exception of where we were at right there with just that down power line just a few minutes ago, where the major damage is going to be at. But wanted to be able to cover kind of the whole entire area over here since it was one of the hardest hit places.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, that really was. I mean, you're basically in the zone, you're basically within the swath of where we saw the more significant icing, again, where we've had the most power reports, at least according to the OG&E System Watch. Again, basically the area you're traveling, you're a little bit to the north of it, but again, basically where you're traveling through, again, that's where we're going to see the more significant things that have happened, at least over the last 24 hours with really the ice storm that, again, moved through parts of Oklahoma.
Yeah, absolutely. So everything looks fairly decent, out to the west. Now, that doesn't mean once you get towards Yukon, where 39th Street ties in, or US 66, but we're going to try and stay kind of a little bit to the north here. Like I said, make my way back up towards Cashin in that area. So I am headed back east now on 39th, again towards the Council Rockwell area. Make a jot up Council to see if we can see any damage there, and then make our way up County Line Road to Cashin.
All right, Phillip McGee, doing a great job out there, and we really appreciate it. So again, it's just right around 2:50 here on the Saturday afternoon. And again, if you're just joining us here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, basically what we're doing, we're just we're getting a grand tour, so to speak, of really the ice storm aftermath across parts of the Oklahoma City Metro. Phillip McGee, our lead storm tracker, he's basically just out driving around, basically just giving you a tour of what we've seen here across the Metro. Of course, this has really been now about a 24 going on 36-hour event of rain, and then some icing right here in the Oklahoma City Metro, and then also some really fairly decent flooding across parts of eastern Oklahoma as well. A lot in the way of river flooding across eastern Oklahoma, with some locations in eastern Oklahoma picking up anywhere from 5 to 6 to 7 plus inches of rain over about the last 24 to 36 hours. So again, this has been a fairly dynamic setup across Oklahoma. Again, we've had the wintry precipitation west and central, and then again the flooding rain across parts of eastern Oklahoma. But again, Phillip McGee basically just giving us a play-by-play here as he drives through parts of northwestern Oklahoma City. And again, we're basically looking for icing still on trees, any kind of tree damage, and then also power lines that have been downed or that have been stressed. Of course, OG&E at this hour is still reporting 70,000 plus people without power here in Oklahoma. So Phillip, back to you there in the field. Go ahead and tell us again where you are. Just kind of give us an update on that, and again, basically kind of where you're heading, and again, what you're seeing.
Okay, William. Yeah, I'm at 39th and Rockwell, and I'm headed back north up towards that. But I'm going to cut back over I want to go to the south end of the runway there at Wiley Post, and then cut over to Council. A while ago, as I was passing by, I seen an emergency vehicle headed that direction, and so don't know if there's a structure fire from some collateral damage with these power lines being down, or if it's something else. But I'm going to try and make my way back over that way to see what's happening.
Okay, Phillip McGee, appreciate that right there. So while Phillip's doing that, let's go and take a look at radar here real quick, just for the rest of you around Oklahoma. Let me go and pull up the live mesoscan radar here, and as I do that, we'll go and give you a radar overview as to really what's going on across the rest of Oklahoma. Let me just get that pulled up here real quick. And as we take a look at this, again, the one thing you may notice here on radar really over the last several hours, the general trend is that the activity we're seeing here is becoming just a little more in the way of scattered activity. So the overall intensities are starting to come down, and we're seeing more in the way of scattered rain. In fact, even across parts of northeastern Oklahoma, rain's starting to break up there just a little bit. But again, that's going to be the trend as we go through the evening. It looks like right now we're going to see more in the way of scattered activity, a lot of drizzle out there. And again, where we're seeing freezing temperatures, we'll take a look at those live numbers here in a second, but it's still across parts of northwestern Oklahoma, west central Oklahoma. There's still going to be the opportunity for some freezing drizzle, really, even as we go through the overnight period. Even right here in central Oklahoma, we're going to be razor close to dropping back below freezing. For even right here in the Oklahoma City metro, we're not out of the woods yet. Of course, for the big Bedlam game up in Stillwater, the way it looks right now, it will be wet up in Stillwater. In fact, for kickoff, there could be some scattered showers, but by the fourth quarter, we're talking about a cold drizzle and a temperature right around 34 degrees. So we're going to be just above freezing up there in Stillwater. It's going to be really cold. It's going to be damp up there. But again, the good news is at least we're not going to have any freezing type precipitation. Again, that's the way it looks right now. So with that being said, let's also switch back over here to the live watch and warning map here. And as we do that, officially from the Weather Service, we do still have ice storm warnings that do continue for really a large swath of Oklahoma. These are still in effect. Also, traveler's advisory up here across parts of northwestern, north central Oklahoma. And then look at eastern Oklahoma. Look at all those counties in green there. Those are all flood warnings that are still ongoing. Most of those river flood warnings. So basically, those locations over there that have seen anywhere from 5 to 6 to nearly 7 inches of rain. Again, a lot of those rivers and low-lying areas, again, starting to really come out of their banks, so to speak. So again, that's why we're seeing those river flood warnings across that part of the state. Let me go and pull up live rainfall amounts as well. While Phillip is repositioning here, I'll just take a second and also show you some live rainfall amounts. These are really impressive, especially across parts of eastern Oklahoma. And again, really, the highest rainfall amount that I found was down in Hugo. And Hugo, in really the last, let's just say 24 going on maybe 30 hours, they've had 9 inches of rain down here in Hugo. So again, that's why there's flooding ongoing across that part of the state. But multiple other locations over here, anywhere from 4.5 to, again, nearly 6 inches of rain, quite common across parts of eastern Oklahoma. Even here in central Oklahoma, downtown Oklahoma City here, recording close to 3 inches of rain, and Norman about 3.25 inches of rain. So again, this has been a healthy rain really all across Oklahoma, and this is really what we needed. Of course, heading into winter, we need these good soaking rains. So again, this has been a good case scenario, minus the fact that we have seen some of this river flooding across parts of eastern Oklahoma. So let's go back to Phillip McGee's stream. And as we switch this back over, Phillip, you're still on the live line with us. Go ahead and tell us again where you are and kind of tell us what you're seeing. And folks, again, if you are just joining us here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, again, we're basically just getting a guided tour from our lead storm tracker, Phillip McGee. He's in really the western sides of the Oklahoma City metro. He's basically just driving around looking at really the aftermath of this ice storm that we saw here in central Oklahoma. Again, looking for ice on trees, down power lines, everything that really goes along with it. But again, Phillip, you're still on the live line. Tell us where you are, and again, tell us what you're seeing right now.
Okay, William, I am on the west side of Wiley Post Airport runway, and I'm headed due north on Council, just passing past one of the housing additions and looking, it's pretty much going to be the same thing. I don't want to sound like a broken record by any means, but I do want to stress the fact that the amount of damage, that is in these areas. It doesn't necessarily have to be to house or home or outbuildings or anything like that, but just alone, just the tree damage itself is going to be in thousands and thousands of dollars in cleanup, for these folks with their backyards, like I said earlier, on one of the other updates we just did, there was a small outbuilding that was crushed by a large tree limb, and then there was a house that looked like that it may have had. I didn't see any holes, but it looked like that one of the branches went through the roof. And so, that being said, there's going to be a lot of money that's going to be put into this storm. It's a really big deal, and even though it's a light rain and everything else, traveling on the roads and everything else, I will say this: people are starting to use their caution when they're driving. They're starting to slow down. That's a good thing to say. As I've been stopping at some of these stoplights, especially down here in the Bethany area, I've lost traction a couple of times. So that just goes to say that, there still are some slick areas that people need to be aware of. So I am happy to say, like I said, that they are slowing down, and they are, to whatever location that they're trying to make it to. So
Phillip, where you
that
are
being
right
said,
now,
I want to hand it back to you.
Phillip, where you are right now, the temperature is going to be anywhere between 32 and 33 degrees. So let's go and take a look at this radar source, and I've got the live Mesonet temperatures on here. Downtown Oklahoma City, it's currently 33 degrees, but as you get just west of the Oklahoma City Metro and just north of the Oklahoma City Metro, the temperature actually drops sub-freezing. So downtown Oklahoma City, currently 33. Here's Phillip McGee's live GPS location, so that's where he is right there. But if you look at El Reno, currently 31 degrees, Kingfisher 32, and Guthrie 32. So really where Phillip McGee is, he's really right on the cusp of maybe some still freezing type precipitation. So if he is seeing some of that falling at his location, again, that's going to kind of contribute to some of those road conditions there that he's talking about. So again, even though the roads look fairly wet, they look okay. Again, keep in mind, especially there on the western sides of the Oklahoma City Metro, there could be some ice that's actually coming back in there to the far western sides of the Metro. And again, some of those road conditions could again start to deteriorate again as we start to head into the latter half of the afternoon and even into the evening as well. So definitely keep that in mind. Again, if you are trying to make any kind of Saturday evening plans, of course it's still cold, it's still damp out there, but keep in mind, folks, we would still definitely, anywhere in the Oklahoma City Metro, we would still recommend you just stay at home, take it easy tonight. If nothing else, just watch the Bedlam game on TV or something like that. But Phillip, let's see, let's go back to your stream and again, kind of tell us where you are and tell us what you're seeing right now.
Okay, you hit the nail right on the head whenever you said that I was right on the cusp of that colder air, because as I'm transitioning back to the north, I'm at Britton Road right now, just to the south of Northwest Expressway, and you can definitely feel just the change of temperature while I'm sitting in my vehicle. And so that being said, looking to the north, and you might even be able to see it, you see that darker bands of heavier precipitation that's coming down. I wouldn't be the least bit of surprised, like you had said, that maybe there might be some intermittent, freezing rain along with that, which is only going to complicate matters with the amount of ice that's already built up on these trees. So, we're still not out of the woods yet with this storm. And so, that's important for people to keep in mind whenever they are out driving around.
Hey, Phillip McGee, let me say this real quick too. This is just in from the Weather Service. They just updated their warnings and their advisories here with their afternoon package. So this map just changed here from what we saw earlier. Literally, the Weather Service, like I said, they just kind of updated their advisories here. So what they've done now is the ice storm warning that was in effect for most of Oklahoma, they went ahead and canceled that. However, for Canadian County, also for Caddo County here, and for Oklahoma County, they did leave the ice storm warning in effect. Again, Canadian County, you folks are still seeing that frozen precipitation, but otherwise in the orange, they've left a traveler's advisory in effect here, and that's going to be for some lighter, potentially frozen precipitation, even right here in central Oklahoma, and then across parts of northwestern and western Oklahoma as we go through the evening. But again, the Weather Service just now updating that. But again, ice storm warning still in effect here for Oklahoma County, primarily the western sides of the Oklahoma City Metro. Canadian County, again, where we're still seeing frozen precipitation, and also Caddo County. Again, all the other counties you see in orange there, that's a traveler's advisory now that it really goes through the evening into the overnight period. And again, that's going to be for at least the opportunity for some lighter frozen type precipitation. So basically, Phillip, what you were just saying, what we were just talking about, as the Weather Service updated their afternoon package, we're actually seeing that with them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I mean, you can definitely feel the temperature change. I've got my thermostat in my truck set about mid-temperature. And I mean, it has really just kind of cooled down dramatically as I'm heading further north. I will say this: I'm going to have to pull over here in just a minute and take a break. I got to get some fuel and go real fast, and then we can be right back on this live stream and this coverage of northwestern parts of the Oklahoma City metro, and then even up into the Cashin area.
Okay, Phillip McGee, really appreciate that. So Phillip McGee, I mean, he's been going now for several hours, and you know, we've been streaming this. So he's going to take a quick break. We're going to basically take a break in our coverage as well. I'm actually putting together the updated 10-day forecast right now that again we'll have for you here in just a few minutes. But again, we're going to check back in with Phillip McGee probably here in about 15 minutes, and we'll basically continue our guided tour around the Oklahoma City metro up really to the north as well. As again, Phillip McGee is basically just driving around, giving us a grand tour of the aftermath of really the ice storm that we've seen here across parts of central and western Oklahoma, really over about the last 24 to close to 36 hours. So keep it here with Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, folks. We'll be back with you again, like I said, here in about 15 minutes for more live coverage.